My first question is actually about Cornwall. Why do you continue to make films about Cornwall and the place where you grew up?
But I don't necessarily think they're about Cornwall. Hopefully they're universal stories that travel, and I'm a long way from Cornwall now, and hopefully in a minute the audience is going to connect with this film, because I think there's universal themes within the film. But I think the setting is Cornwall, the place where it sits is Cornwall, and that's because I always think that the setting of a film has to be authentic. I couldn't come to Toronto having arrived 2 days ago and never been here before and decide to make a film about the place, because I'm not intimate with it. I don't know the people, I don't know the culture, but I can portray Cornwall authentically. I think that's my hope, is that I can portray it authentically. And once you can portray something authentically, then you can put any story into it, and I think an audience will go with it. Because I think the audience is clever enough to sniff out something that's phony. And anywhere else I made it, my film would be phony. So it's set in Cornwall, but not necessarily about Cornwall.
Your films are thematically grounded in realism. You tell some really realistic stories, but they're always have the spectacle to them. I'm thinking of the black and white and date, and you like to shoot on film.
Yeah.
What can we expect with Rose of Nevada?
Something more of the same, but something very different as well. I think a lot of I'm now, because the film's been reviewed, I'm getting an idea of what I've made.
Yeah.
People are telling me what I've made, and I think maybe it's a combination of my first film, Bait, and my second film, Ennis Main. So it's got the social realism and the narrative drive of Bait, but it's also got the supernatural elements of Ennis Main. So hopefully, yeah, like I say, it's the same and different.
Yeah.
I think it's a continuation, it's a progression. And if you'd asked me a week ago, I'd have said I don't know. But because we premiered in Venice and it's been reviewed, the critics and audience members have told me what I've made, and now I'm able to give you that answer.
Nice. Is there any story in particular that you haven't told yet that you want to explore in the future of your career?
Yeah, a million.
Yeah.
And I haven't thought of them yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure, I'm a different person today than I was yesterday. So I don't know. We've got 5 things that are going to go into development, all different themes. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I might think of something tomorrow that I want to make. So yeah, I'm as I progress through life, hopefully the ideas won't dry up.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm having more ideas, which is something I haven't had in the past.
Yeah.
I always worried I had one idea at a time, and I always thought, oh God, there's nothing coming. And then when I need it, another idea comes along.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I've got plenty to work on.
Great. Mark was saying earlier that when he casted you and George, he thought you two were very different people. And when he actually got to know both of you, he found out that you are very similar. What do you think of Mark saying that, and how was the process working with George?
Well, to answer your first question, that's a great thing to hear, because George is one of the nicest people I've ever met. To the point where I think I'm a nice guy, but then I watch George and I think, I've got my game. We're both from West London and have shared experiences. He's a wonderful actor. He's actually someone that I've grown up with alongside and always wanted to work with. So to get to do that with him was a pleasure. I think he's fantastic.
What was it like working with Mark as a director?
Well, it was a unique experience because of the filming process. We don't record sound, and he shoots everything, and he the sound after, and he did the ADR process after, and there's nothing kept from the original moment, and it just adds to the atmospheric nature of the movie. He was insistent on using the Bolex, the 16mm, and he winds it up himself. It was like being in a painting.
Yeah.
So you filmed Rose of Nevada in Cornwall, where you're from. What was the most fun or unexpected moment you had while filming?
Here we go. Okay. I think the most fun was creating something out of tiny little fragments of places. And it's a little bit of a boring answer, but it was like that for me, filmmaking's just smoke and mirrors, and I love all of that. So it was just creating these big scenes out of these tiny little pieces. That's like a constant wonder for me.
Perfect, thank you.
So you write, direct, edit, and compose this film. How does wearing all those hats shape the final cut?
Well, I think a lot of it's me, you know, and I get a lot of attention because I wear so many hats, you know, and I take on so many roles. But also, I work with a lot of collaborators who don't necessarily get as much attention, and I work with, you know, my amazing cast as well. So it's kind of, I don't think it's that much different than any other film, really. Once an audience is watching it.
Speaking of your incredible cast, what was it like working with Callum and George?
Amazing. When I cast them, I thought they were very different, and that's why I cast them, because I felt they were very different people. And then very quickly I realised that actually on the surface they're very different, but underneath they're very similar as personalities. And it made me realise something about the script and about the film that I don't think I was consciously aware of, which is the two lead characters are kind of interchangeable, maybe two halves of the same person. So it was just a joy working with them, and they're total professionals, and they are, you know, I count them as very good friends now, which I think that's the biggest plus that I've got out of making this film, is I've got two really good mates out of it.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of the storytelling, what inspired you to tell this story?
I had an opening scene for the film that I'd had for a long time, and I had no film to put that scene into, and then I needed to come up with a screenplay very quickly at short notice. I needed to get something into development. So myself and my partner, Mary Woodvine, who's also in the film, we expanded this idea of this opening scene. And so it started out at first as a story, and then as I wrote the story and expanded it, I then realized what it was about, and I'd be able to tell you what the film is about in one word. You know, the theme is very strong for me and very clear, and it comes down to one word.
Which is?
I'll never tell you.
Okay.
And I'll never tell anybody, you know, because that's up to the audience. I mean, you know, now it's out, it's not our film anymore, it's everybody's film, so it's up to them to decide what they think it's about. And it is a bit of a riddle, and it's a puzzle, and if I gave the answer, one, it would rob the audience of that chance to unlock what the mystery is, and two, you know, everybody might have a different idea of what the film's about, and that's just as valid as my idea.
So since this film deals a bit with time travel, if you could time travel back to an era of yourself, what era would that be?
Oh, an era of myself. I think I'd like to go back to when I was born. People can't see me, right? Am I invisible? All right, great. Yeah, then not the actual birth.
Yeah. But like, yeah.
I see, like, you know, the early days, and because I don't have memories of that, so that would be nice.
And so with this film being shot in Mark's hometown of Cornwall, were there any behind-the-scenes moment you had with Mark?
I love it. We went swimming a bunch on the weekends. Cornwall's one of the most beautiful parts of the world, and I've been there many times with friends. And now it's lovely to have another community down there.
And lastly, what do you hope audiences take away from watching this film?
I want them to have whatever they want from this film. I think that's the point. You know, Mark has made this so he doesn't put his idea onto you as a viewer. I'll have a different interpretation, you'll have a different interpretation, and I just want people to have their own unique relationship to the movie.